Ladies and gentlemen, Fall Out Boy put out a new song.
Hell yeah.
We've been discussing the Mania apology nonsense. This is a good song, and we are amazed.
I feel like you're the only one amazed because I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this banger.
The previews came out. The little snippet came out. They've been hyping this up with some wild visuals, wild words, and wild images on the internet. And they put out a new song, and it's not bad. That is the biggest surprise. Straight up. We've been talking Mania apology here. We've been discussing Mania apology. Look, the conversation about this new song tends to revolve around like, hey, did you hear that? It's actually pretty good. And that is a very interesting conversation to have when a band puts out their first new music in 5 years.
Here's the thing though, they were putting out these teasers and I was like, oh, this immediately to me for like, they were like, what, like 30, 45 seconds? I was like, this is like giving me Save Rock and Roll mixed with like a little bit of Take This to Your Grave energy. But when I finally heard, I'm like, oh no, this is more Folie à Deux and Save Rock and Roll as like a mixture, which I definitely really enjoyed and liked. I mean, they've been saying and teasing like they were gonna kind of like switch back and forth with their sounds for a while. So I'm not too surprised. I think also, and this can really go either way. I know there's like a lot of people who have like different opinions on this stuff. Like fan service. If at a certain point it's like, well, Fall Out Boy are a household name. They can literally be like, fuck you, I'm doing whatever I want because they're Fall Out Boy. But after a certain point too, I feel like there's so many fans who really just hated Mania, who aren't like super mega fans. Hello, mega fans. I missed that. But the people who weren't like that and they said, okay, well, to maintain this older audience, we should be going for this instead.
I think so. Now, we're going to listen to the song in a second here. We're all going to vibe out on the song together. But just looking here, produced by Neil Avron. So Neil Avron produced Cork Tree for Fall Out Boy. Great sign. Resigns to Fueled by Ramen. Now, history lesson for everybody in the chat. The only record that Fall Out Boy released on Fueled by Ramen was Take This to Your Grave. They did not release Fueled by, From Under the Cork Tree on Fueled by Ramen. So this is big. This is really good. This is nostalgia core. This is, you know, bringing in the old heads. You know, we're all people like me who, you know, hated them in high school and then liked them in college and now hated them in adulthood.
Oh, man.
Lizzie is
really cool circle for you.
Like, ooh, high school. Old heads don't like change is accurate. And also, I mean,
Brian.
Here's the thing. I love change because I was really into Folie à Deux, and Save Rock and Roll even like still got me at a certain bit, but like listening to songs from Mania didn't hit.
He is still not listening to American Beauty, so
still not listening to American Beauty. No one was into Folie when Folie came out. That is not true. I was very into Folie à Deux when it came out because I was super into Pretty Odd by Panic at the Disco.
Yeah, I feel like when Folie originally came out, it was the same thing when Danger Days came out. Like you either really loved it or you did not like it.
Into Danger Days. We get this album cover. We get this letter. I will say about this album cover, Pete Wentz is the pinnacle of don't let him cook. Because what the fuck is this album cover, guys?
There was like a lot of jokes going around. They were like, oh, everyone took the passwords and login information for all the socials for Fall Out Boy from Pete Wentz. And then it was like the night before the release. And there was like just a bunch of like chaotic things being posted on their stories on Insta. Everyone was like, someone gave Pete Wentz the access back. And then I was like, I think people let Pete Wentz have too much access, arguably.
Don't let the man cook. Like, and I'm making this bit because they've been posting a lot of like hole up, let him cook memes. So, but this is cooking gone wrong. This is a bad meal. I don't like this. Why is this? Why would you do this? This is an art project. This is glue. You can see the glue where the glitter and these letters were.
Kids made it, and then you're bullying kids.
Okay, you don't have to release an album with your kids' artwork on it. This is wild. This is wild.
I will say, I really do hope and wish that they also do put like an alternative cover out that is a little bit more like in the vein of Fall Out Boy in whatever way that they can interpret it as compared to their other ones. Because I mean, trust me, I pre-ordered that vinyl immediately. Do not worry. Do not stress. I will have this cover in my collection. hell or high water. I would like a different album cover that, you know, I could have as like a poster and I can be like, yeah, that's a very nice poster.
You know, when a movie comes out and you're like, man, I can't wait for the director's cut. This is that. Like, oh man, this movie is going to be fire once they release the director's cut, as though the movie is supposed to be better.
Well, I mean, I finally watched the director's cut at the first Avatar with one of my friends, and I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of context I was missing from these cut scenes. I'm still not going to watch another 4 hours of Avatar, but that's, you know, it's on them, besties.
Let's get into the video.
Grandpa, read me a bedtime story.
Okay, I'm going to pause real quick.
I literally saw this and I screamed.
Again, why are we letting Pete Wentz cook? Again, off the top. Don't do it. Number two, why do they only hire people who cannot act? Opposite Pete Wentz, who cannot act.
Because it brings it all together.
Okay.
It's camp.
No. Okay, when I saw a thumbnail of this, I thought this was John Mulaney. Like, straight up, I thought this was just John Mulaney. And I was like, that's going to be great. And then I realized it's Pete, and I go, oh, Pete's in this?
Now, here's the thing. Can we think about how far in advance that they maybe made this? And if they were also like, we're going to mimic what My Chem did and make one of us old. That's what my thought was. Because I was like, all right, if the rest of these boys show up and they're like old, I'm going to be like, this is an MCR reference.
Badger brings up the FBREU, which this is in the FBREU, the extended universe. This is technically part of it. I do think there are good actors in the FBREU.
Pete Wentz on Degrassi. I agree.
Okay, Pete Wentz on Degrassi.
Himself.
The band on One Tree Hill and the band in Sex Drive. Was that the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. They have multiple Hollywood credits to their name. They can take one acting class is all my argument is.
Again, like I said at the top, they're fucking Fall Out Boy. They can do whatever they want.
Yes. One of the things they should do is an acting class. Also, Patrick can act. So just put Patrick here. But he's like, no, I don't want to do that. So what they get is deadpan Pete over here.
Deadpan Pete.
The classes are available
DPP?
At your local YMCA. Just take an acting class.
He can go to the local community college.
Go to your local community college.
That's in LA, right? Yeah, they have those out there.
Yeah. Like, Pete, I know you got like 4 kids now. Just you know, go take an acting class.
Just go with them. Enroll. It's a family activity. Enroll all of them in acting class and just show up.
Also, bad acting is not the biggest deal in the end of the day. But I do have to comment on how this girl says, "Read me a bedtime story." It's like, it's just part of the. It's just part of the thing,
I was
right?
wondering if she was like one of their kids or like nieces or something that like she wouldn't know. They were just like, we need a kid.
What?
A bedtime story. The one about that band?
It was an especially cold winter in
reading.
Antarctica.
Okay, so I see this, and I was so like kind of surprised that this was released before the note from Joe. So Joe is not in the video and is taking some time away from the band, as they tweeted out later in the day. Why are you releasing the video, though? Now, the first thing I'm asking is, so where's Joe? Why is Joe not in the video? Why is Joe a raccoon? We are big Joe Trohman supporters here in the stream. We love all of Joe's bands and Joe Trohman as a person. So very much hoping that he is well, very much hoping that his time away from the band is healing and he comes back to the band. It does seem like that is the goal here, to come back to the band.
I will say, when his book came out and there was a lot of talk about it, it seems like, and in the book too, he writes how he's really excited to have this new Fall Out Boy music and to continue on. So I'm pretty sure that this wasn't like planned. That does sound like this happened like over the last like 6 or so months, where he's like, I can't do this like right now. So I were to think that he definitely does have intentions to come back. And it says in the letter too that he wants to come back to Fall Out Boy once he is feeling better. And
he did, just for clarity, he did write the record.
As far as I'm aware, yeah, he was on the record. They said, I think, for like this cycle album release and tour, but I'm not sure if they would release a tour for this upcoming summer or if they would wait another year, especially if they're teasing like Wrigley Field and like stadium tours again. That's usually like you got to book that in like a year or two in advance. So I wouldn't be shocked if he came back, because after a year, I'd be like, okay, like that makes sense. You got like a year off basically from doing this type of stuff. That's kind of where that's at. That's what it read to me. It was like, I won't be here for the promotional cycle of it.
We went into this album cycle after Joe's book, saying like Joe was really kind of frustrated that he didn't get to write anything on the last record, and now a new record comes out, or a new record is coming out, and Joe is stepping away from the band, and Joe's a raccoon in the video. I'm like, what is the weird like PR move here of like, we're gonna have Joe not appear in the video and then release this letter? And it's like, man, I really just hope that Joe got to write on this record, because the book came out. It really kind of just shed some light on a situation that we were unaware of. And now, hey, anyway, he's taking some time off from Fall Out Boy as soon as we're releasing stuff. So it does sound like it is just for the promotional side of this. So they're being gentle. I think that it is the goal here.
I think the thing is too is that they release it afterwards, because I feel if you were to say this band member is no longer a part of the band, people start to get kind of shitty.
I guess.
And you're just kind of like,
yeah.
Or people would be like, well,
weird.
I don't want to go see a full band without one of the original members, which I feel like though over the last probably decade or so, a lot of that has happened with like swapping out members. So it's really not abnormal.
It's not abnormal. It's more abnormal that Fall Out Boy has had the same 4 members in it for the entire time. That's way more rare in music than anything else. But yeah, I do think they're being gentle. I remember that Fall Out Boy has had a lot of controversy online brought to them because of things that they've just sort of been honest and upfront about. Joe, I love you. Back to the video.
I'll go get the book.
People have been making this like a whole thing about these like bands on the books, and I'm like, guys, you just need to fucking chill. This is literally just.
I think it's just like
bands.
them saying like, hey,
it's just references.
This is like a homage to everything.
It's just references, guys. I think that's very nice that they are at least like, this video is a shout out to the emo scene and the emo re-explosion.
I mean, I think the fact that they came back and they were like, yes, we are emo, and like we're gonna accept it and like not really fight it, I guess to say, and like they're just owning it.
Catch 182 is funny. Some people don't know that Modest Mouse is the reference for Modest Mice and Men. It's not of Mice and Men, even though that is also a band name. But it's definitely a Modest Mouse reference.
I saw like the breakdown. They're like, is it of Mice and Men? I'm like, that's a completely random and different. Like that's like a random one. I felt
they are fans of Modest Mouse. The band, I believe, is friends with some people in Modest Mouse, so it's definitely a Modest Mouse reference. I don't know how people missed that.
Can we also talk about Emo Island? Because I saw that and I was like, guys, are we really right now? Like, I know. But I want it to be like Weezer. I want it to be done for like the meme of it all, and not like.
I think it's done for lore, like, right? Like, this is all lore.
What is the lore connecting Emo Island?
Here's my assumption is that Emo Island is a reference to the idea of like, we didn't think that we were in the emo scene. We were an island within the emo scene, but we were not ourselves emo. Meanwhile, they're like being associated with this, but they felt like they were not really a part of that. Emo Island is another music fest. You know they're gonna fucking do it, or they were put in a box forcefully.
I go to the Fall Out Boy Emo Island Festival in a heartbeat.
Dude, if that's what they fucking call their tour, I'm gonna be so fucking pissed. I'd be like, listen,
wait, let me do this right.
Emo Island Tier 1 tickets sell out yet?
Take it.
Take it. They sold out.
Yeah, actually, guys, we're all on the wait list.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. We're excited to hear the next thing the Fall Out Boy does. Very stoked that the music is appealing to me. It's hitting that nostalgia bone in my body, and that's all I care about.
Yeah, I mean, as a Fall Out Boy stan and being so annoying the last week, I apologize to nobody about Fall Out Boy coming back, but I'm really stoked on it because they're one of my favorite bands, and listening to this new song is definitely giving me the vibes from, like I said, Foley and Save Rock and Roll, which I feel helps marry things back together with older fans and like the newer fans, because they're going to hear stuff that's similar. And I think it's just still so trippy and weird and crazy with like the music video and the style and everything that you are going to still capture this newer audience, because they know that they have that hold. They have us in their little grips, And I will say thank you for that because I'm stoked. And the first time they play in Chicago again, I'm going to be there. So I'm stoked.
We'll both
I'm
be
having
there.
a good time.
Hell yeah.